Well, we might have a good hunt today, guys. I went to my bank to pick up my $50, and they know I like customer wrapped rolls, and they said they had something set aside for me, and that a customer came in and turned in a bunch of penny rolls that look like they're all wheat cent rolls. I don't know if there's wheat cents in the middle, but every single end coin on all 12 of these rolls is a wheat cent. Every single end coin on these 4 rolls are buffalo nickels. And every single end coin on these looks like older Jeffersons, and there's even some of them that have dates on them. And then finally, look at this. Could be a full roll of bicentennial quarters, and if they are, we can check for varieties with those as well. So, like I said, this could be a pretty fun hunt. I'm looking forward to going through these, seeing if we have any better dates, seeing if we have any varieties, and seeing what we see. Hey everyone, it's Rob Finds Treasure, and welcome back to the channel. I said everything I need to say in the intro. Possibly 12 wheat cent rolls, possibly 4 buffalo nickel rolls, possibly 4 older Jefferson rolls, and a bicentennial quarter roll. So we're going to have a quarter hunt, a nickel hunt, and a penny hunt all in one. And I'll probably start with the bicentennial roll. Let me get this dumped out. We're going to scope every single one of the Denver and Philadelphia ones for any die clashes, and of course the FS101 DDO on the Denver. See if we find any of that. If not, if they're in great shape like they appear to be, then maybe I'll just roll them back up in a plastic roll and put them in my inventory. After the quarter roll, we're going to move on to the Jefferson nickel rolls, and I'm going to say this now. If I find a 50D in here, we are going to count this as a closure to my Jefferson nickel album. If we don't, it'll keep going, of course. Then we'll move on to the buffalo nickels. And then finally, we'll do the wheat penny rolls. What a score. Regardless if it's just all common stuff, it's still nice getting older things at face value. Without further ado, let's dump out this quarter roll and see if it's all bicentennial quarters. Well, the good news is the bicentennial quarter roll is all bicentennial quarters. Unfortunately, only 6 Denvers, and that's the mint that has the DDO. But all of these appear to be either partially circulated or uncirculated. They're all beautiful except for this one right here has some gunk on it. But at the end of the day, they are beautiful quarters. Hopefully we can find a DDO with these 6. And if not, we can look for the die clashes. But no matter what, I've got some nice bicentennial quarters for the collection. I'm going to sleeve them up in this plastic tube to house them better. And like I said, if I have a variety, I'll bring it back. If not, we'll move on to the Jefferson nickels next and see if these dates line up. And if we have a 50D, that'd be epic. All right, wish me luck. Time to look for some varieties. Unfortunately, no varieties in the quarters, but like I said, it's nice getting some beautiful ones at face value. We're going to move on to the nickels now, and we have 3 rolls that are similar, and then one that looks a little bit odd. I don't know what's going on with this roll, but either way, we're going to start by going through these. I'm going to dump them out. It'd be nice to see some silver ones, but when I asked if there was any dimes or quarters that were not this, they said no, they didn't turn anything in like that. So I'm going to assume they pulled out the silver, but if we can get lucky and get some silver in here, that'd be awesome. Just a quick peek, really quick. We do have silver. We do have silver, a 44p. So there's another silver. Another Philly, a 43 Philly. So they may not have known. They may not have known. That's a 43p about silver nickels. Oh, wow, look at this one. It's a 66, but it's beautiful. Is there steps on that 66? There is not. You know, 1965, 66, and 67 are 3 tough years to get full steps unless you have the SMS, but that doesn't count as a business strike. So we'll be looking for any varieties, of course, any nice Jefferson nickels, silver, and is that another silver? We have 4 silver nickels in the first roll. 4 silver nickels in the first roll. Holy cow. So we're going to get a silver score, and I was not expecting a silver score, and especially with silver going bonkers right now, that is a good score. Let me get back to the hunt and see if we can find some dandies. Really quickly, we'll get back to the video, but I want to talk to you all about an exciting breakout that I haven't seen in quite a while. Silver just hit $41 an ounce, a 14-year high. Gold recently touched $3,600 an ounce for the first time ever. Mining stocks are exploding, with the GDX up 85% this year and the GDXJ up 90%. On top of that, the Federal Reserve is signaling rate cuts as early as September, which is this month, and that could add even more fuel to the fire. This is why I want to share again a pure play silver company well positioned for this breakout. Since my first video on this company, its stock has already jumped 140% in the last 90 days. That company is Argenta Silver, ticker AGAGF, which is available on Interactive Brokers and Schwab, and is today's video sponsor. So here's why I'm featuring Argenta again today. Reason one, insider buying. Two high net worth individuals with proven track records in mining are doubling down. Billionaire Frank Giustra and prominent Argentinian businessman Eduardo Elstein now own nearly a quarter of the company, with both having recently bought even more shares. Reason number two, the El Quevar project, an undervalued asset. Argenta purchased the third largest undeveloped silver deposit in Argentina for just $3.5 million. The previous owner spent 60 million Canadian dollars advancing the project, which already holds over 49 million ounces of silver equivalent resource. That's including both indicated and inferred at extremely high grades. Reason number three, exploration upside. Less than 1% of this property has been drilled. Argenta has $18 million in cash on hand and is actively drilling right now, with results expected in the coming months. Oh, and the project is also located in Salta, which is Argentina's top-rated mining jurisdiction, and it comes with built-in infrastructure already in place, with a 100-person camp, roads, rail, gas, and power lines. This is why Frank Giustra calls Argenta Silver a once-in-40-year silver opportunity. With silver breaking out, gold hitting all-time highs, and billionaire insiders doubling down, Argenta Silver definitely deserves another look. Please check out Argenta Silver, again, ticker AGAGF, available on the OTC. Before we get back to the video, I do want to remind you guys that I am not a licensed financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Also keep in mind that unlike physical metals like gold and silver, mining stocks can be highly volatile and you could potentially lose your entire investment. There is a disclaimer link in the video description down below and more information about Argenta Silver, who was today's video sponsor. Now, let's get back to the video. First roll recap of nickels was pretty good. Bunch of 60s that are not in great shape. 3 that I'm probably going to keep. We got one from 57, a couple of 54s, 53s, 52, 51, no 50, 49, 48, 46, 41, and 40. Even a first-year issue 1938, albeit a Philly, and 2 1939s, both also Philly, and none of which are the DDR. First roll down, let's go ahead and dump out the second roll and see if there's more silver. 4 silver nickels in that first roll. And by the way, there's no DDOs or anything on those as well. All right. Here's a silver. 1945 Denver. Here's another one. 1943 Philly. Looks like 2 more silvers in that batch. Let's go through them. I'll put them on the board and give you a recap of roll number 2. Roll number 2 was not great, but not bad either. We got lots more oldies, only a couple of more keepers. We did get the 2 silvers, but nothing older than 1940 in that roll. And there was one decent, if I can grab it, 1953 right here. That's a relatively nice one. Could be an upgrader. We'll have to see. I am checking and weighing the coins for the Henning nickel years. No Henning nickels yet. Moving on to roll number 3. Be nice to score a little more silver if we can, but if not, I'm okay with it. We've already got, 6 on the board. All right, let's see what we got in here really quick. Anything silvery sticking out? I don't see it. We got one. 1945 Denver. That's in decent shape. And I don't see anything else silver. And of course, still no 50D or any key dates or semi-key dates yet through the first two rolls. I'll be back if I find something great in this roll. Otherwise, we'll move on to the last roll of the Jefferson nickels. Roll number 3 has been hunted. Still nothing earlier than 1940 since the first roll. We did add the silver for 7. And we have every year as far as from 1959 back to 1938 except for 42 and no 42 silvers and no 56s. One roll left, crippled up roll. But let's see what's in this one. And hopefully there's more silver. Well, I guess we just dump it out with you guys. And we'll see what we got in this bad boy. No 50D or key dates yet. Well, I already see a buffalo nickel in this roll. I see a lot of buffalo nickels. All right, so it looks like they had started this roll and then added buffalo nickels later on. So we've got a mixed roll, and I don't see silver, but I do see a lot of buffalo nickels. And they look pretty slick. Yeah, these ones look really slick. All right, well, hopefully we don't have a bunch of slick buffalo nickels like this, because I'm not going to be doing a Nic-A-Date video today. But if I have any mint marks, maybe I will Nic-A-Date the ones with mint marks. But yeah, these might be tough buffalo nickels. Either way, we got some silver. Let me run through this roll. I'll get the buffalo nickels set to the side. We'll finish up the Jefferson hunt, and then I'll count these buffalo nickels when we move on to these 4 rolls that hopefully are all buffalo nickels as well, with some dates. All right, bringing you back in really quick. We have finished the Jefferson nickels. I always get asked what I do with the 50s and 40s Jefferson nickels at the end of the hunt. I go through them. Obviously, I'm keeping these nice nickels, and I choose the best ones of all of them. These are really the best ones that I'll keep. This is not a nice nickel, but I always keep 38 and 39 Jefferson nickels no matter what for the collection. I just keep them. It's something I do. The 38's relatively nice, but definitely not in great shape. All of these are face value coins, basically, based on the condition. But I do keep them if they're definitely decent. And this 1954 Denver could be an upgrade. This 1953 Philly could be an upgrade. And this 1947 is decent enough. It could be an upgrade. That's why I'm keeping them for now. If they don't upgrade, I'll make a decision on whether or not I keep them in my rolls, because I only keep AU or better Jefferson nickels in my rolls. The rest go back to the banks. Now we got to move on to the buffalo nickels. And like I said, hopefully we don't have a bunch of dateless buffalo nickels in here. But I need to go through these, see if I can get any dates off any of them. Anything that has damage and or is already Nic-A-Dated will be tossed aside. And then anything that is relatively nice but just can't see the information, I'll put as in dateless with no mint mark, dateless Denvers, and dateless San Franciscos. And maybe if we have enough of them, I'll do a Nic-A-Dating session at the end to see if we have any great ones. Let me get started on the buffalo nickels. If I find something nice between now and going through the rolls, I'll bring you guys back on in. I'm back already, going through these dateless ones, and even though it's pretty much dateless, when I flipped it around, it is a type 1 raised mound, and there is an S mint mark down there, so that's a better date. 1913, type 1, San Francisco minted buffalo nickel, and even though it's dated, we already know the date, so it does kind of count as a date, although it might not be in G4 condition, but still a better date. We're off and running with a better nickel in that first batch. Just finished the first roll. We have a bunch of dateless Phillies, 1 dateless Denver, and 3 dateless San Franciscos, including a Nic-A-Dated damaged one, 1917 Philly. 2 type 1 1913 Phillies, no dates though, and a 1913 type 1 Denver. Bring in though, because I grabbed this other roll and I didn't notice this at first, but it says no date, so we might have dateless buffalo nickels. Let me dump it out. See if it's no dates, and if it is, I'll quickly do what I just did and bring it back in if I find something worth mentioning. Finish that second roll of buffalo nickels. I now have been able to identify a few dates in those rolls. A 1923 out of Philly, A barely legible 1919 out of Philly. That's what we got so far. We're now up to 3 dateless Denvers, 4 dateless San Franciscos, 2 damaged ones, and a grip of dateless Phillies. Not going that well on the Buffalo nickels, but we still have 3 more rolls that don't say no dates. So hopefully, if I can get it open, we have dates on some of these. Yeah, we got dates. I can already see dates. We've got better ones in this roll. All right. Better ones hopefully means better ones with dates and mints. Let me comb through these, get them sorted on the board. If I find any better dates or varieties, I'll bring you guys back. All right, we finished the Buffalo nickels, and there is a great mix of dates, but not a great mix of mints, mostly Philadelphia. We only had 1 Denver from 37, 1 Denver and 1 S from 36. We had a 30 Denver, a 29 Denver, a 28 S. We had a 20 S. We actually had a slightly better date right here, but it's not in the best shape, but it's a legible date, 1916, and it is a San Francisco, so a decent coin, probably G4, 16S. We actually had a dated 1913. It's got damage, unfortunately, type 1. And then a few 1916s with dates and a handful of 1919s with dates in relatively decent shape. There were a lot of nice 36s, 37s, and 35 Phillies, but no varieties to look for on those, and no varieties found on any of these. And like I said, none of them are in fantastic shape overall. None of these will upgrade, but some of them are decent. That's a decent 1928 Philly. But anyway, kind of a bust on the Buffalo nickels. There's a lot of dateless ones. There ended up being 5 damaged ones. But I think what I'll do really quickly is I'll just Nic-A-Date off camera these 8 or 9 mint-marked ones and see if I can get dates and see if we have better dates. But once I Nic-A-Date them, they lose value, but I need to know what they are. I'm going to knock that out really quickly. I'll report back my findings. Then I'm going to clean up the Buffalo nickels, and we'll move on to the wheat cents and change out to the penny mat. And hopefully we score better on the wheat cents than we did on the Buffalo nickels. We have finished the Nic-A-Dating session, and if you guys don't know how to use Nic-A-Date, I have a how-to video that I'll put up here to check out. That being said, we did get 1 semi-key date and some better dates. First and foremost, we got a 1916 Denver. We got 2 1917 Denvers. I'll just show one of them. You can see the date. Nic-A-Date works well. We did also get a 1918 Denver. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the 18/17 because even a Nic-A-Dated 18/17 sells upwards of $100 or more. 2 1918 San Franciscos. I'll just show one. We got one tough to read, I think it's 1919. It could be 1915. It's hard to tell because it was really damn, yeah, I think it's 1919, but as you can see, it could be a 15. But either way, it's a 1919 or a 15S, but in terrible shape. And the semi-key date right here came out beautifully. Look at that. 1921 San Francisco. That is a tough date, and it came out nicely. Even though it's Nic-A-Dated, it still has value, and I don't like to sell Nic-A-Dated coins, but if I put out there that it is Nic-A-Dated, as you can tell, it's a nice looking coin, and the Nic-A-Date came out nicely. I took it off pretty quickly, and yeah, looks good. 1921S, tough date. It's worth about 10 to 20% of the value. This is probably more upwards of 20% because the Nic-A-Date doesn't look too bad. And I might hold on to this one. The rest of those will go in my Nic-A-Dated nickels bag, except for that one maybe. All right. Nickels are done. Time to move on to the pennies. What I'm going to do is I'll dump out the first roll on the penny mat with you guys. We'll make sure it's all wheat cents. If it is, I'm just going to begin the sort. If I find better dates or varieties, I'll bring it back. But we're going to fly through these as fast as possible because otherwise the video is going to be 30 minutes long. Let me start on the pennies. I'll bring in after the first roll's dumped out just to validate they are wheat cents. Well, we dumped out the first roll, and not only does it appear to be wheat cents, we also have a steel cent in there. 1943, looks like it might be San Francisco. And it is. So we definitely have a nice mix here of wheat cents, at least from the 40s and 50s. Hopefully it's not a 40s and 50s dump. Well, that's already going to answer the question. A 1920, it's in terrible shape, but it is older. And yeah, let me go through this and see if we have a good mix of dates in here. We know we have one from the 20s. There's one from the 30s. We have one from the 40s and the 50s. So hopefully, and the teens. So we've got all the decades covered, unless there's a 1909 in here of any kind. We'd obviously have all the decades covered. All right, I'm getting excited. Let me start hunting through these. I'll let you guys know if I find any better dates or any varieties. Quick update, we've done 5.5 of the 12 penny rolls. These are the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, so a pretty good mix of years. I'm bringing you in, though, because we have our first better date of the bunch. Under the scope, I have a 1921 San Francisco, just over 15 million minted. It's not in the best shape, but it's definitely the best date we have so far. Just wanted to bring that up. I'm going to put it with the 20s for now, get back to the sort, and if we have any other better dates or varieties, I'll bring it back in. Well, I finished those wheat cent rolls, and they were pretty much all wheat cents, except for we did have one memorial back, 1959. You know, I hold on to those. The nicest coin was the 1953 Philly with some red on it. We had a lot of other decent coins in the 30s and 40s and 50s that I didn't pull aside. I'm just going to add these to my wheat cent sacks. We had a 25 Denver, a 21S, and we have a bunch of wheat pennies in the teens. No mint marks. No mint marks except for a 17 Denver, an 18 Denver, and a 19S. All the rest are 1910, 11, 13s. No 14s, no 15s. But yeah, nothing really in great shape. That's why I didn't separate them and sort them for you on the board. No need to. No keepers for me. Like I said, all this will just go into the wheat cent sacks on my website. That being said, it was a lot of fun going through the wheat pennies. Even though we didn't get any varieties or any special dates, it's always fun going through what's kind of like unsearched rolls from the bank. And I know these were searched and sorted long ago, but still fun going through them. We got some silver nickels. We got a nice roll of bicentennial quarters and a few nickels that I'm going to check for upgrades in a future hunt. No 50D, of course, in the nickels. And again, nothing super fantastic in the wheat cents. But like I said, I had a lot of fun going through them. Hopefully you guys did too. And if you did, you know I certainly would appreciate that thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting and thanks for watching. No, we didn't forget about feeding the silver jar his silver from coin roll hunting. There you go, buddy.